Welcome and anchor down from the Vanderbilt campus.
Anchor down!
The future home to two top 10 basketball recruits in Simi and Darius Garland. Also, we have Aaron Naismith committed to Vandy. We are absolutely pumped about the new commits.
Yeah, here's Darius Garland, one of the top point guards in the nation, plays down the road at Brentwood Academy, announcing his commitment to Vandy.
My dad told me that the Lord is going to make it clear for me, so eventually it will come easy. And that's why I decided to stay home and go to Vanderbilt University.
Oh, yeah. Anchor down.
All those cheers, that's actually JT and Zeke.
Oh, yeah. Final four, baby. The gym was full there for Darius, and he was just the first five-star recruit that we got over the last couple of weeks. Here's Simi ranked even higher than Darius, number one power forward in the nation, anchoring down.
That's right. Next year, I'll be going to Vanderbilt.
Throws up the VU. Going to be throwing down a lot of dogs for Vandy, for Bryce Drew, taking us to the Final Four.
Dude, I watched their tapes. Garland looks like a hybrid between Kyrie Irving with the handles and John Wall with his passes. Like, he had so many good no-looks.
Great player. Yeah, one clip he had, I think it was in his first game of the season. He went the whole length of the floor with all the behind-the-back, through-the-legs dribbles that made it all over his On Overtime Twitter account and all over the place on Bleacher Report. Yeah, Darius Garland's going to be a star. He reminds me of De'Aaron Fox a little bit.
He does, yeah. He's a little smaller than Fox. He's, I think he's listed at 6 feet. I saw he weighed in at 158. Doesn't have the most size, but I don't think that matters too much. His shooting looks pretty good. It's hard to tell from film if they're actually a good shooter or not, but the handle is definitely there. Athleticism is elite.
And for what he lacks in size, Simi makes up for. He's huge. He's built like Jerry Baptiste. He's listed at 6'10", and he has the handles of a shooting guard. He kind of plays a lot like Paul George, can pass the ball kind of how LeBron can for somebody that size.
Yeah.
Number one power forward. He has a back-to-the-basket game. He can drive. He can bring the ball up the floor, play some point forward also.
No,
Those two guys, imagine
forward.
them, the pick and roll with the two of them is going to be unstoppable.
Yeah, no, I saw he was listed at some showcase. He measured in at 6'10.5" with no shoes. So if that's true, he has a lot more size than is listed on 247. Who knows if these are accurate or not? But lots of size. He's a true point forward. He could play center for us. But really good handles, can pass the ball. We're pumped about them. I mean, we already have two top 10 guys. We're in the running for Romeo Langford, the number 5 recruit in the country.
Oh, let's not forget about Aaron Naismith. 6'6", he's 6'6" with a 7'2" wingspan and is one of the best shooters in the country. Imagine these guys all together.
Bryce Drew is doing work. This year, we don't quite have Bryce Drew's type of team, but Bryce Drew's type of team, we're going to see it next year. And
we are.
The hope is that this continues. Do you think this is sustainable? Obviously, top 10 recruits is not easy to get.
I think it is sustainable. I think players really want to come play for Bryce Drew. They like his coaching style. They like his calm demeanor. They like that he played in the league. They believe that he can put them in the league and have them play to their strengths. I think we should stop all the discussion of funding a new football stadium and move that discussion into funding a Bryce Drew statue to go outside of Memorial Gym, because we're going to need one very soon. He's going to take us to new heights.
Well, I donated $1 to the senior class fund.
I hope that goes to the Bryce Drew statue.
Yeah, I didn't specify, but it should go to the statue. And I will donate $1 more if that's what we need.
We need
because
that.
Because he is absolutely killing it, and he's here for the long run. He is here to make us the next Duke University, the next Duke basketball.
Yes. We already got the academics. We have the great home court advantage, great Memorial Gym.
Honestly, Memorial is probably cooler.
City. Yeah. The city. Duke doesn't have the city. We have the city. The SEC is on the rise. Look at where all these top players are going. You got players going to Mississippi State. You got players going to Auburn.
Alabama.
You got Kentucky all the time. Alabama. Texas A&M is a top 10 team right now. The SEC is on the rise. The SEC is going to be rivaling the ACC within a few years, and Bryce Drew is going to be one of the main driving forces of that.
Absolutely cannot argue with that whatsoever.
And like Jimmy mentioned, Romeo Langford, the number 1 shooting guard in the country, played with Darius Garland for Team USA over the summer the last couple years. They're really good friends. Says Darius and Simi are trying to get him to come to make a big 3 or really a big 4 with Naismith. That team is going to be ridiculous if he ends up coming.
All of the recent predictions pretty much have Romeo Langford coming to Vandy. Originally, he was a strong Indiana lean, But we know Darius Garland was also considering Indiana, and then in the end said that they weren't even his second choice. He said UCLA was, right?
Yeah, UCLA. I think his dad played with Alford, their coach. There was some connection there. But yeah, UCLA was their second choice, even though it seemed like Garland might have strung Indiana along a lot. But it is I don't like how ESPN leaked out his commitment. I think there was a little miscommunication there. But I like how Garland was able to play it so tight and really do it his own way up until the last day.
Yeah,
People thought he
ESPN was looking
there.
a bit desperate there. You'd think they're above that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Indiana has not looked any better than Vandy has this year. I don't think current performance should really be too much of like a factor when committing, especially since we have like 2 top recruits for next year.
Yeah.
But Indiana's not looking great. Obviously Langford's from
Indiana
Indiana,
sucks. Yeah,
but
Indiana's
it's not the place to go. They don't have Bryce Drew, they don't have Memorial Magic, they don't have Darius Garland.
They got destroyed by Indiana State.
Yeah.
Indiana State. We lost some games this year, right? We're 2-4 right now, but think about who our losses are to. Our losses to Belmont, one of the best mid-majors. Overtime lost to top 10 team USC. Lost to Seton Hall and Virginia, who are both probably going to be top 5 or 6 seeds in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, Virginia
That's
game
not
didn't
bad.
look good. The USC game we looked good though.
Yeah.
So
And against Seton Hall, we look pretty good too.
yeah.
I think that if he wants to come play and he wants to build a big 3, they could do something special. I think with Darius and with Simi, we would have a chance to make a run, a very good chance, kind of like how I felt going into the season 2 years ago when we had Wade and Damian and Luke. I'd have those kind of expectations. I think Bryce Drew would be the guy to help us really meet those expectations. I think if we had Bryce Drew that year, we could have been a Final Four team. I think we'd be around that level of a team. But if we add Langford, we have to be a top 5 team going into the season.
It's also like it's not as if we have 0 returning players. Baptiste is really developing right now.
He's
Cleavon
huge.
Brown's developing. You know, Kentucky every year, they don't really have any returners. So they've had a few classes. So last year's graduating class for Kentucky, graduating as in the freshmen, you know, the De'Aaron Fox, Malik Monk, very similar. They had the numbers like 5, 8, and 11, something along those lines for the top recruits. 3 top 12 guys. We're looking at a very Kentucky caliber class, but we also return a few guys. Kentucky usually doesn't return too many people.
Yeah, we're going to have Peyton Willis coming back. We're going to have Saban Lee. Max
Lee's
Evans.
looked good.
Saban Lee looks good.
Yeah.
He needs to be able to shoot the ball. That's one thing with Lee. He's there, if he can have that like pull up like how De'Aaron Fox would, like 10-foot, 15-foot jumper, he'd be unstoppable. So once he adds that to his game, he's going to be even better. But yeah, he's been the most fun player to watch. And I think the bright spot so far, that and the big guys that have been seemingly holding their own.
Yeah.
The big guys haven't been the problem so far.
We also have a Kiwi transfer from New Zealand who will be eligible next year.
There
2
are reports
transfers.
that if he could play this year, he'd be the best big man on the team.
Yeah, and
Most
also,
skilled.
we 2 transfers that both have
Yep.
pretty good potential.
Yeah, and some people I talk to think that Matt Ryan would be one of the starters next year. Not the guy who blew the 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl, but the transfer from Notre Dame. He's a sharpshooter, around 6'8".
Yeah.
So we have a lot of guys coming in. The one thing, if we want Langford to be able to come here, somebody has to leave. I don't think Vandy is the place to force people out, but I think somebody would see the writing on the wall that they're not going to get play time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a reality to the game. Every year people transfer out, though. I don't think it's something to be concerned about. Naturally, it would happen. Something with these new people committing, it almost creates a pressure for the current players to step their game up. If you're Saban Lee and you know Darius Garland's coming in next season, you know that you have to be on the top of your game if you want to compete for playing time again. It creates a really competitive culture that can help the returning players too.
Yeah, it's definitely going up. Our outlook on basketball is very, very high.
We're gonna be alums. I'm gonna be watching more games next year than I am this year.
Wow.
I don't know if I'm gonna be back for homecoming, for any football games. Period. That's up in the air. Basketball, I need to come back.
Yeah, well, football also had a good weekend. This was really a great weekend if you're a Vanderbilt football fan, for 2 reasons. 1, we beat Tennessee, and 2, Tennessee. What's going on there? It's an absolute dumpster fire right now. They tried to hire Greg Schiano. The fans didn't want Greg Schiano. I don't know how that the athletic department thought that they'd be able to get that through and there wouldn't be any backlash for it.
What I don't understand is there's a whole interview process. Like, how did they conclude that Greg Schiano should be the choice if every single fan immediately rebutted it?
It doesn't make any sense. I think that they panicked after Mullen went to Florida. Is it possible? Because it came out so soon after that. It might have already been in the works. That already might have been a thing.
Well, there are no other choices in the entire country. I mean, JT and Zeke are both in the free agent market for coaching.
And if we had to do the
No
hire,
baggage.
it would come out a lot better. Because Schiano has the baggage, and he's not that great of a candidate. I think if he was a great candidate, I think the Tennessee fans wouldn't have said anything. I think that part of it is that they wanted somebody better. They had the John Gruden, even though I don't understand why they want him. They have those dreams.
Lane Kiffin.
Lane Kiffin would be better. Lane Kiffin would be a lot better.
Lane Kiffin, I mean, he's a distinct possibility.
He is my favorite Twitter account to follow. He's so funny. You see him trolling Tennessee the last couple days. It's like he posted something like, if you're in need of a prayer right now, something. He posted something for people to pray, and then he quoted an article that said Lane Kiffin is waiting by his phone, saying, "I'm not waiting by my phone. We need to beat North Texas. # come to the FAU." And then when they hired Dan Mullen, he said, "Welcome to Florida, the state. What is it? The FAU's state, or something like that." So Lane Kiffin, really funny guy. I think that he definitely didn't leave a good impression there now, but I think the fans would welcome him back after this Greg Schiano thing.
He has to be a top choice for them.
Yeah, he should be.
I tweeted a GIF of a dumpster fire. It got a lot of retweets. My favorite comment was, "The dumpster's not big enough, and nor is the fire."
Yeah, it's pretty bad there.
Yeah. They're also, we can't forget the fact that they may have been the worst team in all of FBS at the end of this year.
They were bad.
That's a bold statement, but
pretty bad.
Yeah,
they were really bad.
They have no coach. They have talent, but they got destroyed by us.
Like we let up the most points ever in our 8 SEC games that any team has ever let up, and we destroyed them.
Yeah, and it's Tennessee. They're supposed to be good. They
have
haven't
a lot
gone
more
winless
talent.
in the SEC since the 1930s. How does that happen?
We've beaten them 4 out of the last 6 years
4
now.
out of 6.
So our fans might not love hearing this, but that should never happen. It really should never happen. Tennessee has the opportunity to be one of the powerhouses. Vanderbilt,
we're not there yet.
Not there yet. Not as much. Tennessee, with the resources they have and the players they're able to get, I don't know how that's happened. I wonder if they take back Butch Jones at this point. I don't know.
I think that one's doubtful.
Yeah, I don't know. Would they rather have Jones or Schiano? I think they'd actually rather take back Jones, have him fire the whole staff, than have Schiano. At this point, they can't hire Schiano at this point.
It's a really interesting situation, to say the least.
It'd be funny if they had to hire back Butch Jones and still pay him the buyout at the same time.
That's too Tennessee.
There was one article or one rumor that was, since they signed some sort of papers, they might owe Schiano up to $20 million if he decides to sue them for being the coach for 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, I'm sure he'll do that. It brings up a really interesting question, though. This is the age of technology. This is almost like sports democracy here. The fact that the University of Tennessee made a hire and somehow it got vetoed by the fans on Twitter. It got vetoed on Twitter.
A couple sports broadcasters that were Tennessee fans tweeted out John Curry, the AD's cell phone number.
Yeah, I heard Clay Travis was the first to do that.
Yeah.
Vandy grad.
Yeah. Tennessee fan, but Vandy grad. But that's funny. It was very funny to follow the last couple of days.
Yeah, they'll go 0-8 in the SEC probably for the foreseeable future.
You want to make a bold prediction? Bold prediction. Who do you think's their next coach? I heard something about Jeff Brom today.
I heard, that would be pretty good. I heard Sumlin's in the running. I don't think it's a good hire.
Sumlin?
Kevin Sumlin, the one that just got fired.
Yeah, I think Sumlin set the bar way too high his first couple years with Johnny Manziel, and he's actually been pretty solid there in their first few years in the SEC. I remember Texas A&M just joined the SEC.
Yeah.
But he did get fired. I don't think that's a good choice. Either him or T. Martin, people are saying also, because he played quarterback for the Tennessee National Championship team. He's your USC Trojans offensive coordinator.
Yeah. Decent choices. It's kind of sad that it's Tennessee and their choices don't seem great. It shows how far Butch Jones really dug them down.
Yeah, and all the dysfunction in the athletic department too. Who's going to want to go there?
How did they hire Greg Schiano?
That makes no sense. Let's get back to
question.
That. Yeah.
How did they hire Greg
And why'd they
Schiano?
rush to do so? There's so many coaching vacancies, and you haven't heard his name once.
The season's not over.
Yeah, who's mentioned Greg Schiano? Is Greg Schiano, we have to hire him now so he doesn't go to Arkansas, so he doesn't go to Arizona State? Who else is actually going to hire him? Nobody. Nobody's going to hire him.
Yeah.
Why are they rushing to hire Greg Schiano? It makes no sense. Maybe they should look at Les Miles.
He was a good coach.
He was a good coach.
He probably was wrongly fired.
Yeah, I guess his offense got a little outdated. That's the only thing.
Yeah, he might also not want to coach at this point.
I don't know. If they made him fire, or if they hired Les and made him hire an offensive coordinator that he's actually going to let do the offense, that probably wouldn't be the worst thing. But it'd still probably be pretty bad.
Yeah.
I think that whole program is just a mess.
Well, if it means anything, Urban Meyer said that Greg Schiano is an elite character, an elite coach, and an elite
ridiculous.
Just about everything else. We know Urban Meyer is a good judge of character, and so maybe the Tennessee fans should listen to Urban Meyer and take Greg Schiano back.
Yeah.
Double his pay because they were very, very rude to fire him.
That sounds like a great recommendation. He's being sarcastic if you guys couldn't catch on to that. But let's talk about Vandy for a second. Good finish to the season there. I know it was over a team that might be one of the worst teams ever.
At the very least, we're not the worst in the country. We know that.
Yes.
But it was a good finish, especially for the seniors, going out, beating Tennessee 2 years in a row. Offense, pretty good. Defense didn't let up as many points as other games.
Let's talk about next year for a second and who we have coming back.
We lose a lot on defense.
We lose the entire defense, which was already historically terrible. The defense was historically bad, and we lose a lot of the key guys.
So maybe that's not bad. Maybe
I don't know. I think Mason misjudged it. We don't have any real inside. I mean, like, Burks is an athletic guy, but he's not an inside linebacker. I think that was a lot of the problem. And Adam Butler, losing him was huge.
We lose even more size.
Like, Adam Butler's playing for the Patriots a lot. Zach Cunningham's been one of the best linebackers in the entire NFL this year. Like, when we lose both of those guys, they made a big difference.
Bigger than we imagined. I mean, it's only 2 players.
Yeah.
How does that? Yeah.
I guess we lost
chemistry issues.
Stokes also torn McGaster.
Yeah.
Or Stokes was last year or the year before?
No, Stokes was last year.
Stokes was last year too. Yeah.
But yeah, we lose essentially the entire defensive front.
We're gonna be so weak, or we're gonna be so small up front, I should say, next year.
Nephi gone, biggest guy on the team probably. Jay Wood's gone.
Jay Wood's gone. Those are the 2 nose tackles right there.
And Jonathan Wynn's gone too.
Cameron Tidd has looked really good though when he's played. He made the Pro Football Focus all defensive team 1 week. He's actually looked pretty good. And we have a couple guys coming in, but I hope that we're able to land some more big guys for the defensive line. Maybe we'll put Dave Broussard back on the defensive line just because he's huge.
He has the build for it. He seems like a prototypical defensive lineman, and there's going to be a shortage there, so that makes sense. I like that recommendation.
Pretty much the offense, we lose some key guys. We lose the big names. We lose Ralph Webb. We lose Sherfield, Duncan, Scott. Besides that, we return everybody. I don't think running back, as much as I love Ralph Webb and Kari Blasingame, I don't really think it's going to be that much of a drop-off. You have Wakefield, you have Keyshawn Vaughn, the transfer, coming back.
Oh, I forgot about Keyshawn Vaughn.
And then at receiver, you got Lipscomb coming back. Lipscomb's our best receiver. Yep. We're returning him, and he was only a sophomore this year. And you have Alex Stump from Ohio State coming in also. The entire offensive line's back. So I think the offense is going to be even better next year.
Pinkney will be back.
So
offense, Shermer has another year to develop with them.
Defense might be worse. We might have to score 45 points a game.
Are we entering the Big 12?
That'd be fun. And we should enter the ACC because we're going to dominate in basketball really soon.
That's true. I'd be cool with that. Originally going to college, ACC wasn't cool. Now they're better at football. They're good at basketball. Not a bad conference to be in.
Not bad at all.
But overall football, not the best season. Good finish though. Lots of moving players next year. Probably won't lose any of the juniors though. Wouldn't expect to. Shermer should be back. He's not.
He could get drafted next year if he has a good season though.
Oh yeah.
I saw people comparing his stats to Jay Cutler's, and his stats were better.
Given what he had in terms of time that the offensive line gave him, and a few drop balls, he was stellar. Yeah, he was. Great poise. He looks the part. Good quarterback.
The schedule is slightly easier, I want to say, next year. It's similar because instead of playing Kansas State as our hard out-of-conference game, we play at Notre Dame. But instead of having Alabama, we have Arkansas. So
that could be a winnable
it's almost like kind of similar. Maybe a little bit easier because Notre Dame might be a winnable game because they were really bad last year. They might be bad again. You never know. And Arkansas is very winnable.
If the SEC East is as down as it was this year, the schedule should be easier. That said, you got to imagine Tennessee will be better than the worst in the entire country. And you got to expect we lost to Florida anyways, so it doesn't make a difference. But Florida should be better next year.
And South Carolina's on the rise. Will Muschamp's doing a good job there.
He is.
and Matt Luke got the job full-time now at Ole Miss. I think they're going to be pretty good.
Yeah, for sure.
Beat us this year. So it's not easy. It's not easy in football, but basketball. It's easy when you get 5-star recruits that are just better than anybody else on the floor.
Well, 3 guys makes a difference in basketball. In football,
One
it
guy
doesn't.
makes a difference.
Yeah. Maybe LeBron James should come. He hasn't played in college yet.
That's true. I don't know if he'd be eligible, but we could check.
Yeah, he might. He looks like he's 40, so maybe not.
Yeah.
Want to talk some general college football?
Yeah.
Alabama losing to Auburn. When the episode Josiah was on, I asked you two, what is the chance that a 2-loss team sneaks into the playoff? I thought it was a decent chance. And you guys shut the question down and said it was absurd. And now we have Auburn.
We do.
2 losses.
We
Probably going to the playoff. We also have Ohio State with 2 losses. They have a chance to make it to the playoff. Things change. Teams lose.
I wonder if Alabama will still make it. If Ohio State wins this week, say Auburn wins, Ohio State wins, Oklahoma wins, Clemson wins. Who's the 4th team? It would be Clemson. It would be Auburn. It would be Oklahoma. 1-loss Bama or 2-loss conference champion Ohio State. I'd have to go with Alabama.
Really?
I'm not sure, though, what you would say. Ohio State got destroyed by Iowa. I think the discussion ends there for me.
Well, isn't there one undefeated team in the country?
Yeah,
One non-Power 5 undefeated team in the
Ooh,
country.
UCF. Do we want UCF?
Over Bama, sure. Bama had one really high-quality opponent in Auburn, and they lost.
They destroyed everybody else, though, except for Mississippi State. That was a close
If
game.
we're being real, Alabama is probably a top 4 team, top 5 team. But they're not. They looked worse than Auburn. I think Auburn is actually better. Sometimes a team wins, they're not actually the better team. I'm pretty sure Auburn is the better team there.
Memphis UCF is a big game this week. That'll be really interesting.
Memphis has 1 loss, UCF none?
Yeah, they got a really powerful offense over at Memphis. And Mike Norvell, he's another name you might hear with Tennessee.
Yeah. So I'd take Ohio State over Bama. Ohio State's losses were early in the season.
They were to Iowa, though.
Okay, and then Oklahoma, right?
But Iowa, though. Just like Clemson. I don't think Clemson should be ranked as high as they are. Clemson lost to Syracuse. I don't care. Their quarterback got hurt. One player should not make the difference there.
So what happens if Clemson loses to Miami?
Miami should make it.
You think
They would.
1 loss Miami.
I think the ACC champ has to be. They'd have the win over Notre Dame. But their schedule's been really weak, and they barely beat some really bad teams also. And they lost to Pitt, and Pitt was 4-7. So I think the winner of that game's got to be in. I don't think they're like the number 1 team, though. I don't think Clemson wins that game. I don't think they're the number 1 team. I don't think Miami wins their number 1 team. I think there'll probably be 3 or 4, whoever wins that game.
So who's the number 1 team?
The
Oklahoma?
SEC champ.
The SEC, okay.
I don't care who wins. Yes.
So no, if Georgia wins, they're in it.
Yeah, Georgia wins, they're in. Auburn's out.
Right
Auburn
there,
wins, they're in. Georgia's out. So I think SEC champ is in. ACC champ is in. Oklahoma's in if they win. Wisconsin's in if they win.
Agreed.
They have to. You can't leave out undefeated Wisconsin. You can't.
Yeah, my only question is if Clemson loses, I don't know that Miami should be in over Ohio State. Ohio State has a quality win over Penn State.
They lost twice, though.
They
so
do
wait,
have
are
2
you
losses.
saying but what if Ohio should be in over Ohio State? So are you saying Ohio State would beat Wisconsin then?
Yeah, assuming,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, if Wisconsin wins, obviously
So who else, wouldn't they both? So are you making an argument that it should both be in, or that
No, I'm
Miami should
saying-
be out and Alabama should be in?
Oh, wait, good question.
I think you have 5 teams in that scenario.
UCF.
UCF.
I
What
mean,
about
if you're
Vandy?
undefeated, throw us in.
Throw us in.
If you're undefeated though, and there's all of these, I don't know. Bama's clearly better than UCF, so this might be a bad argument. But they are undefeated.
We
Bama's
should take
not.
UCF's coach. He's very good. Very good. They were a joke before he got there. Now they're undefeated. You have players on that roster who lost every game, and now you have players on that roster that won every game.
How
How about that?
UCF is better than Florida. How does that happen? Like that should not happen.
That's why
FIU.
Florida fired their coach. That's why this should not happen.
FAU might be better than Florida.
There are rumors that Derek Mason might go to Arizona State. Now, this reminds me of when Kevin Stallings got the job at Pitt.
It would.
How do you feel about that? I think that might be the best thing. That'd be great. I think that'd be a good thing that could happen for Vandy. Be able to have somebody else pay the buyout and have him go out there. I don't see how they could really introduce him as the coach with the terrible record he has as a head coach, but
I don't see anyone being unhappy in that situation.
no.
Yeah, Mason.
Well, the Arizona
has
State's
to-
fans would probably be pretty unhappy.
Okay, from the Vandy point of view.
No, I
Yeah,
think that'd be
it's-
great.
Mason's on the hot seat.
Yeah.
In many regards, he's lucky to have the job after this season.
He would not have his job at any serious football school after the season he had this year.
Yeah, I mean, coaches get fired really easily,
Yes.
and he's at best on a thin thread.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to get fired. Even if we got destroyed against Tennessee, I don't think he would have gotten fired, but it's got to be on the table.
I think he should have been if we lost to Tennessee. That would have been bad.
I think he should have. I still think he should.
True.
But I don't think he will.
Yeah, one of the worst defenses in the entire country, and he's supposed to be the defensive guru. And he probably is, but there's something going wrong.
He's responsible for getting the players, too. There's a theory out there that he might have drove the players into the ground after the Alabama game. I don't know if there's any truth to it. Rumors that they didn't handle that situation correctly and really got on them for that instead of picking them up. Might just be a rumor.
No, possibility
Makes
for
sense.
sure.
Yeah.
Next year's going to be the first season in which we have a full Derek Mason team. There might be a few James Franklin recruits that are still on the team. Redshirt seniors, would they still be on the team? It's going to be a Derek Mason team next year, though, for the first time.
Now, because Nephi was Mason's recruit, and he's a senior this year.
Yeah, but that was the year that Mason came in.
Okay, so there might be some that were
there's a
saved
few
from Franklin, but Mason was their coach from day one.
Like
Yeah.
Emmanuel Smith committed to James Franklin originally, and then recommitted. Yeah, and then recommitted
so you could
to
have
Mason,
a redshirt senior.
which was huge because we also got Josh Smith out of that.
We did.
Not to say that they're completely dependent upon each other, but they probably were
that
somewhat.
helped.
Yeah.
It didn't hurt.
But yeah, next year, full Derek Mason team. We lose a lot on defense, bring back most of offense. Not overly optimistic, but we are hugely optimistic about basketball. Final Four.
Final Four.
Yeah.
Maybe even champions.
Definitely.
So you can't project that because Duke brings in a class like this every year and they don't win it every year.
Kentucky every
Yeah,
year.
same.
Some years Kentucky's bad.
If we brought in, the thing is, if we get Langford, we're in the conversation with those teams. We're a top 5 team, and then it's just do the shots go in once you get there.
Yeah, going into the season, we'd be heavily hyped.
Yes.
Yeah,
well,
who
we're
knows?
going to be anyways.
Yeah, who knows whether or not? You got to think out of 3 guys, at least one of them pans out. One of them leaves at the end of the year as a one and done.
Yeah, Stu said he wants to be a one and done.
I'd hope that all of them want to be. That means they want to be good.
Well, that'd be good too, because then Bryce Drew could be like, "Look, I put these guys in the lottery."
Yeah.
That'd be a way to keep it going.
Yeah, at least one of them.
Yeah.
And hopefully all 3 of them are at least contributing players. They clearly show that they have the ability to be.
Yeah. So it's an exciting time as a Vandy sports fan following the mess at Tennessee, but mostly because of the basketball recruiting momentum. We're hoping that Romeo Langford anchors down. He says he's going to commit sometime in the spring. Another theory out there, I know we like to mention these theories, is that he wants to come to Vandy, but he's from near where Indiana is. He doesn't want to commit to Vandy and play in front of all their fans for his last high school season as a Vandy commit. So that's why he's waiting.
That's actually real. When you think
That makes
about,
sense.
high school football recruits, high school basketball recruits, they get death letters,
Yeah.
death threats. It's
He's from
crazy.
right there too. He's from right near where Indiana is.
I mean, Indiana, not to make fun of it, but a lot of Indiana is kind of the middle of nowhere. They're big about their Hoosiers basketball.
Yeah.
There's not all that much for them to follow. They're following his high school career and his commitment.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
They
possibility.
were upset when Garland came here too, even though Garland's from here.
Yeah. I'm good fans, but
Under
hopefully
who-
Vandy's gonna have better fans
Who would leave?
from our team.
Yeah.
Possibly someone like Max Evans
Or
He'd be-
Austin maybe, grad
Isaiah-
transfer.
Yeah,
I think Evans is going to be good for us, but it's just a question of who gets the play time. Peyton, I don't know. I don't want to name any of these guys. These guys are all really these guys are contributing
you'd
players.
have a lot of guards on the team. We'll just say that. I imagine one of them would transfer. You never really know who. We've had a lot of random transfers.
Yeah, we couldn't
through the years.
afford any of the big guys to transfer.
Yeah.
I think Obina is going to be really good, and I think Baptiste, he's new to basketball, and it was pretty brutal for I think some of the games that he had at the beginning of his career where it looked like he was a little lost. But his last couple games, he doesn't look lost. He looks like he's right out there, and he actually is a plus player, I think, for us at this point.
Yeah, the amount that he's improved in 1 year is pretty stellar. It's kind of similar to Festus Ezeli.
Yeah.
If he can become a Festus Ezeli, that's amazing. That's all we need.
Yeah, and he kind of gets the Damian treatment with some of his fouls, too, where he gets fouls called on him just because he's bigger than everybody else. Like, half of his fouls aren't fouls, Jerry Baptiste.
He's been a little better about it this year, though.
Yeah, he has.
Not 4 fouls in 4 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, or in our radio intro, Damian had 4 fouls in 14 minutes.
Yeah, the Damian treatment.
Yeah.
I think that winds it up, though, for the day. We are psyched about the basketball recruits. Darius Garland is going to be walking on this campus next year, and so is Shatu.
And so is Romeo Langford. We'll put out our crystal ball prediction.
Do we get a vote? We should.
I get a vote.
Yeah, so every time I walk across this campus, I'm going to be thinking that that's where they're going to be walking next year.
Yes. They're going to be eating in the dining halls and mostly throwing down sick dunks in Memorial Gym.
Yeah, probably for 1 year and 1 year only.
And I'm okay with that, as long as we
right.
make a deep run in the tournament. Be sure to listen to us 6 p.m. on Mondays on Vandy Radio. Vandy Radio, the studio has been kind of broken recently, so we weren't able to do our show today, but it should be back up by next Monday. And be sure to check our Twitter account at VU Sports Podcast. And one of us also has another Twitter account with 5,200 followers, JT, big guy here on Twitter. That's SEC_JTROD. That's his Twitter account.
Shoot us some follows. Make sure to tweet at us during next week's show, too.
Yeah. And we'll see you when we're going to the Final Four.
Yeah, see you then. Anchor down.
Anchor down.